Hello YouTube, this is a video, take 22 so to speak. Recently I had the pleasure to meet a female who is struggling with, I don't like the word mental illness, depression, and had made an attempt at suicide. And when I had the pleasure of meeting her and talking to her, like I said, this is something that I'm working towards and helping other people cope with the loss of suicide or suicidal thoughts, or being a victim of suicide. One of the things that she had stated, and I'm not saying by no means who this person is. I wouldn't say she's a lost soul, very bright person, but she felt, after hearing my story, she wanted to know how I felt towards my mother, which I explained in my videos, which she hasn't yet been able to see the videos. But her fear is that her children are gonna hate her, and she feels that she's better off dead, than to be with her children, because she's addressing issues that, from her past, her horrible life, horrible marriage, horrible childhood, like most people that attempt suicide. Now, not all people that attempt suicide or commit suicide, have a horrible past. They can have a wonderful life, a wonderful family. So for families that, may come across this video and they have a child or, a loved one that took their life, and don't be offended and think that everybody that has taken their life had a horrible life. They just, mentally weren't able to cope with certain situations, and to end your life because you're better off, or your children are better off. I had those thoughts many a times, with my daughter. I used to think to myself when I was at rock bottom that, if I took my life, then my daughter would get Social Security and free college. And it's all these thoughts would run through my head. And, because after I had made the attempt at suicide by hanging myself, like I said, I still don't remember, but, when my daughter did talk to me, yeah, she resented me and she was hurt, just like I had resentment. Not anger, but resentment for my mom leaving me and my daughter on this earth when she took her life. And tomorrow's her birthday. My mom's birthday, October 23rd. But the great thing about our children and our loved ones is their capacity to forgive. And she is making a huge step by seeking recovery and healing herself. Now, by doing that, once she's able to heal herself, which could take years, and it can take years for a child to, or a loved one to forgive you for attempting suicide. And but the great thing is a couple years down the road, or even sooner, when they forgive you, you're a phone call away. Well, I still haven't figured out what my mom's phone number is up in heaven, or I'd call her. So, but to think that your kids are better off because you have an addiction or you have severe depression, I'm not using the word nonsense, but it's not true. Your children need you in this world, and when we do get to rock bottom and feel like there is nothing worth living for, I can't say, you got to be strong and, because like I said, I've attempted suicide several times. Mainly when I did it, I was intoxicated because I wouldn't have done it when I was sober, in the right frame of mind. But like I said, if your children eventually forgive you down the road and the resentment is gone, then you can go from there and mend your relationship and your bond with your children. You can't do it when you're no longer here. So in essence, you have to fix you before you can fix your relationships. So, no, your children are never better off by you taking your life. Now, if you're a person that abused and molested your child or something, I encourage you, take your life, get out of this world, we don't want you here. But if you are fighting your own mental demons and addictions and, PTSD from a horrible childhood or a horrible marriage, like I say, like I've told people in meetings before, they're like, well, I want to get sober for my children. And I used to say the same thing. But the best way I can relate it is your family is the automobile, the body of the car, and you are the engine. If you don't fix yourself first, that car's going nowhere. It's not going to run. So you got to fix that engine yourself. It has to be in top-notch running order for your family to heal, to mend, and to cruise down the road and live life, so to speak. Car's going to know. You can't say, I'm going to get sober for my children, because I've tried it. And you know how shitty that feels when you relapse and you're falling off the wagon and you're drinking and you're like, I didn't even have the willpower and strength to stop drinking or doing whatever addiction you may have over your child. It's because addiction and alcoholism, they're all the same. It's extremely hard to battle. But once you get to that point in recovery and you're able to deal with triggers, urges, and you get sober, you just surround yourself with sober people, then you begin to heal yourself. Then you address the issues, your PTSD. You can't bottle all that stuff up inside. So once you are slowly healing yourself, your so-called engine, you're adding parts to it, you're removing broken parts. You can't remove the past. The past will always be there, but how to cope with the past. And once you're able to address the issues, somewhat heal those issues to where you heal yourself, then that's when you can focus on mending relationships with your loved ones that you have not intentionally destroyed, but have destroyed through addiction and alcoholism. But taking your life because you think they're better off without you is absolutely not true. So I urge people that may come across this video, and if you're at rock bottom, seek help, talk to somebody. I've noticed this state up here is way better when it comes to mental health facilities. So talk to a psychiatrist, like I said, I prefer, support groups. But, like I said, they'll forgive you. Some kids, it can be just a couple weeks they'll forgive you. It might take a couple years. The older the child is, the more they understand. Then it might take a little bit longer. But when that time comes, guess what? You're on this earth. You're still alive, and you're in a much better place than you were before. You're clean. You're sober. You're working on the issues that brought you those suicidal thoughts or those suicidal attempts. And if you are able to overcome them, then your relationship with your child is going to be 10,000 times better than it was before, because you were high, because you were drunk. That relationship was already rocky. But guess what? like I say, what happened to me in my past, in my childhood, and every screw up I ever made, I would not change for the world because it's made me who I am today. I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm still an ass. I'm still a jerk sometimes, but every beating I took from my father, every beating I took from my stepfather, just, every losses, I would not change it for the world because it would have steered me in a different direction and I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I wouldn't have compassion and understanding for people that are dealing with, suicide or attempted suicide or people that have lost loved ones to suicide. So if you are that parent out there, or if or if you're just that person hurting, thinking the world will be better off without you, if you are a good person and you're just battling addiction or you're battling your past, no, the world's not better off without you. Trust me, the world needs you. And I thought the world would be better off without me. And meeting this this young lady, apparently I've given her some hope. So maybe, the world does need me in a sense to help others. So, permanent solution to a temporary problem? Absolutely. Are you better off dead? No. Like I said, children will forgive you, loved ones will forgive you. A phone call away. Could be a couple weeks, could be a year, could be 2 years. But if you're gone off this earth forever, that phone call will never be made. So I encourage you. I say encourage a lot because I do want to encourage people. Make phone calls, seek help, and fix yourself first. It's not selfish to need to fix yourself before you mend the relationships. Your children need you. Always and forever. So anyways, that's just a little tidbit on that I just wanted to get off my chest. And if anybody has any stories or comments or want to subscribe, I'm new to this, so anyways, be safe, keep your chin up. Tomorrow's a new day. Seek help. Be safe. Later.